What's up, Milk? I'm sorry that I took your game. I know now never ever to come into your office on a Friday night when you may not be here or may have left early and steal your game that you ordered from Japan for the weekend, but dude, I gotta say,
it's a good thing you weren't in the office because you almost got dead. I'm looking through my mail. I'm all stoked because every extended extra is here and some other imports, you know, and I'm like, hey, here's my bomber, man.
I'm sorry, but you did say you were gonna order one for me. Or not order, you said you were gonna get one for me when you went to Japan, but...
I did, but they weren't actually on the rack when I was at the airport.
Then so. You're forgiven.
Thanks, man.
Exchange quicken extending.
When you do start playing it, you're like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? I'm shooting things and making little combos, but then what? Now game over? How does that work?
Yeah.
And it's because unlike most shooters where you just shoot like crazy to try to kill as much as possible, you really have to like conserve your bullets in this one and make sure that every little explosion that you make is the exact explosion you want to be making. And then you're also keeping track of your time and trying to grab the quicken things. I don't know, it's a pretty intense game for something that only uses one button.
You look at it and you think, and you hear that it's a shooter, but you know, it's not scrolling, it's not side scrolling, it's not top down. You're in a set arena,
right? And
you're moving this little like orbiting
crosshair
around, and you're laying charges. It's really more like Bomberman in a free roaming 3D arena. You look at Luminous and you see blocks, you see a grid.
Yeah, everyone understands it, puzzle game, right?
But with every extend extra, you really have to try it.
You have to manage your time between dropping bombs and going and grabbing the little point crystals that are everywhere. They, if you grab one, you may get 1,000 points, but if you grab 4 in a row before you shoot off another shot, it's a multiplier. I found the best strategy is to like go for the quickens. It makes more enemies fly onto the screen all at once, which lets you get the bigger combos, but of course then it's harder to dodge the enemies as they're making their way on screen. So it is a nice balance, and like I said, it's difficult to get into, but once you figure it out, I think it's pretty cool.
When you get like 4, 5, 6 quickens, everything starts moving faster, and then you realize that just how much depth this simple game has.
And they did do a great job doing the usual like Q pass on top of the game, which is like the skins look sweet.
Yeah.
The music is dope. Every stage has a cool boss battle.
Yeah.
Some of them are easier than others. One of them is like really reminiscent of a boss battle in Rez, which is really cool. Every level has a specific like giant enemy where if you kill it, it will always give you a time extend.
Yeah.
And so if you get to the point where you're keeping your extends high and you're constantly getting these time extends, then you can make the stage go on, because it isn't till like the timer drops to about a minute that the boss battle begins.
Yeah.
So you can kind of keep the stage going for a while, and then at that point building up the big points. They give you a grade at the end of the stage, and when I started I was getting C rank and B rank, but then like the first time I saw my first triple S rank, I was like, fuck yeah! And that's when it starts really feeling good. You're like, all right, I got it.
Tizen mode is bereft of all the things that really hold you back in the single player. The thing, yet every time you get hit by something in single player, you lose 5 seconds, you lose 10 seconds, whatever. All your quickens come loose, but in Tizen mode, there's none of that. It's all about creating chain reactions to send this huge orbiting satellite back onto the other player's field.
Right.
And it really works great because, you know, you send it, if I send it flying off of my screen, I see it kind of like, you know, orbit around and like go on your side of the field. It's like playing tennis. It's really fun. I mean, like when we started playing, we couldn't stop. So once you get your copy, then we can actually get our battle mode on. Trust me, it's going to eat up a lot of time.
Oh, I'm sure. You know, if you play the original Every Extend on the PC, solid game, really cool. But I think Q has added enough like new mechanics to it with the charge blasts and the different skins, different enemies that pop in.
What's cool is that if you're a hardcore fan of it, that they actually have the original mode in Every Extend Extra. Yeah, you can play that in light mode and hard mode. Thanks for bringing my copy back.
Yeah, of course.
Dick.
I'm sorry. All right, fine. Whatever. I'll be back
I'm
when
gonna
I
come over
have.
and borrow some of your shit, and I'll borrow your pants. Be like,
Alright,
where's
fine.
my pants? Oh, Milky took them. Where's Milky? Oh, he went home.
I'll give you my shoe next time. I'll leave it here like a deposit.
No, that's all right.
All right, cool. I'll be back when I have my own copy of Every Extend. Get it
Okay.
on.
We'll get our war on. You originally had a realistic graphics engine and now you switched it up. Is there like a much smaller polygon count or something so that it enables many more things to happen on screen as well, like all the particle effects like Sakura leaves, the explosions, the effects? Does actually using that graphics engine enable you to get more out of the game?
実はその狼ってポリゴン数がすごい少ないように見えてすごくいっぱい使ってて、で画面のシェーディングもすごく独特なんで、マシンの力っていうのはほぼもうフルに使っちゃってるんですね。それでも足りないぐらいで、墨絵で描いたようなシェーディングを実現するためにも何回もレンダリングするようなこともやってるし、実はそのマシンパートのそのリアルな方向と墨絵の方向で何かがすごく楽になったっていうことがあるわけじゃないんですけれども、そのリアルじゃない分その違った美しさっていうのを表現することが可能になったから、なんだろう、あんまりその体験したことのないようなそのグラフィックの動きであるとか美しさっていうのはこのゲーム独特の持ち味だと思うんですよ。その自然がすごく爆発的に蘇っていくリアルな手法で表現するんじゃなくて、こういう絵画みたいなものがそういうふうに絵的に変化していったり動いてるっていうのはその普通のゲームにあんまりないわけで、このタッチでそういうものを見るっていうことで新しいその喜びっていうのが生まれたっていうふうには思います。だから表現的に助かったっていうんじゃなくて、コンテンツのその質を変えたっていう意味でこのグラフィックスタッチになってすごい良かったんじゃないかなと思いますね。
Where does Nabasan see Clover as an independent developer? Like, there's one side of the fence, like Q Entertainment, where they manage to keep their overhead low, design games for systems that don't require huge development teams. So even if the game isn't the hugest success, they didn't seem to put so much into it that it breaks their back. Then you have other development teams like Dream Factory, who take on these big projects and they put all their eggs in one basket, basically. They put their whole development team on one big project for a major console, and if it doesn't sell, then they're kind of screwed. Where does he see Clover going in terms of like a business and development model?
できればどっちも取りたくないこれは余談だけど、ドリームファクトリーは僕はゲームを作る能力がないスタジオだと思ってて、そ すごくスタッフの能力が高いですよ。どこの会社もそうなんだけれども、スタッフの技術力がやっぱり高い会社とかっていうのがいっぱいいて、クローバーのスタッフっていうのは別に絵がすごくうまいとか、サウンドの作る力がすごくいいとか、そういうスタッフ、要は他と比べてこう抜きん出てそういうのがいいわけではなくて、ドリームファクトリーが作ってきたゲームとか作り方を見てると、あのスタジオは面白いゲームを作る能力はないから、僕は早くやめた方がいいんじゃないかなと思ってるから、そういう勝負はしない方がいいと思ってるんですけど、あんまりそのハイリスクハイリターンのモデルっていうのはこれからの市場でやっぱり取れない。それは多分失敗する確率がすごくでかいから、ハイリスクっていうような生優しいもんじゃない。
Well, we're at QuakeCon. This year they're holding it on the surface of Venus. It's about 6,000 degrees, and it's been a long trip. There's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing since I got here. We're gonna go do that now. All right, who the hell are you?
Hi, I'm Paul Wedgwood from Splash Damage. I'm the owner of Splash Damage and lead game designer on id Software's Enemy Territory Quake Wars.
This is the first time we've seen it since E3. What's new with the game?
Well, you know, one of the great things about QuakeCon is that we finally got a chance to get the fans to play the game and get a sense of what their feedback's going to be like. We're also now have about 9 of the maps are playable between id Software, Activision and Splash Damage. So we've now got a whole bunch of maps that are like Valley, the one that everyone's been playing here and at E3, that, you know, we feel really confident about and that people are going to have good fun with.
Have you guys been considering an Xbox 360 release at all?
The game has tons of potential for next-gen console platforms, but there's no firm decision at the moment, and we really need to focus on the PC release to get that absolutely perfect. And really, the decision about, you know, what other platforms it could go to is one for id Software.
Is it maybe too late to add like some kind of way of retaliating when people are teabagging me?
If you track down that guy who's been you know, somewhat offensive towards you, then you could use our solo assignment system, identify him, and have your entire team just kick the.
So I can put out a hit on him when he's doing this stuff to me. Thanks for keeping me in mind.
No problem.
Well, it was good meeting you, and thanks for all the new information.
Thanks for talking to me.
Two Bloody Marys. There's supposed to be women here? Oh, we've got a couple of the girls of destruction here. That's girls with a Z. With a Z. Okay. How you liking the tournament so far? How you doing?
It seems pretty fun. I like the tournament area. The PCs are good, and they're letting us go into practice really early, so it's really good.
Now I know you guys don't play each other, but if you did, who would win here?
It's hard to say. I think if we played each other, one would win. If we play the same map again, another one would win. It's hard to say.
So this is like a full-time thing for you guys now. This is 9 to 5. I mean, what's your training schedule like?
Often they practice evenings and nighttime because I like to go out in the sun and do stuff and go grocery shopping and do stuff like that. And when you come home around 6, we start playing Because then when people are getting home from work, from school, and you can find good opponents online. And
Since we're traveling so much, going to all these events, we have to, we have to recuperate and adjust to the jet lag. So I would say it varies, but maybe 5 hours a day on a daily basis.
That's not bad. Did you just start off playing shooters, or?
yeah, I started playing Quake 3.
I started with games like Doom and Wolfenstein, shooter games, but I played them for fun with my family, like my brothers and my dad. And then when Quake 3 came, I played more and more, and then I got into it more competitively.
Thanks for your time.
Back row!
Well, we're here at QuakeCon, surrounded by an awful lot of gamers and a damn lot of PCs, throwing off the heat of 1,000 suns. All of them brought together through love, camaraderie, and an appreciation for shooting each other in the fucking face. It's great.
What is that? Star Fox?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I've been playing it too.
What do you think?
Funny you should ask. Well, I didn't know at all about the whole like tactical.
I didn't either.
The whole tactical aspect. It has grown on me a little bit. Like they added little things later, like there's a fog of war that you have to, brush aside, and you find missiles for your main base to shoot at the enemies. Yeah, and that's kind of cool because you have the option of you can either send out your ships and you get more and more ships, or you can actually just send a missile and just blow away that enemy instead of having to worry about it. But I'm a little. It surprises me that all of the missions are like big, open, free-range missions. It's kind of cool that they took it in a different direction, right? So you can just intercept any enemy ships, and then you have to go after like the master ship sometime.
And on the map, there's missiles and there's fuel extensions and time extensions.
Right.
That was my first negative reaction to it. I don't like being timed in games like
The
this.
clock is always going.
The clock
down.
is always going on and distracts you from taking down your objective enemies.
Right.
You have to go to get these secondary enemies to refill your time units. It's strategic, but it's just kind of annoying. It kind of
You
takes
start
you out
to
of
freak out a little bit. At least I do. Like when the clock is counting down, you start looking on your map.
Or when you have to start a mission with 12 seconds left.
Yeah, and so it
That's
keeps track of your time, and each of your different characters has their own time, their own number of bombs, and their own health. And it keeps track of that. If you run out of time, you lose a life, and you have 4 or 5 lives. The different moves, I thought it actually works with the stylus, though. I will say, you just point to the direction you want to go, and that's what you move.
What do you think overall of the stylus control, in place of an analog stick?
Well,
my hand, I've been playing for the last couple hours, my hand's cramping up really bad.
Well, the one thing I did like is because you need to spin a lot to reflect enemy bullets, and that also adds time, which is a cool thing. So I'm doing that a lot, and it's as simple as going, like that, and I can still fire, still keep locked on to other enemies and stuff like that.
I mean, it works, but the whole time I'm wishing that there's an analog stick on it.
Right.
It doesn't really add anything.
The kind of weird thing is doing loop-de-loops and turning around.
I used to do that a lot in the old Star Fox games.
I did
rarely
too.
do it now.
And there's little buttons on the side that you have to hit on the side of the map to do either. And I find myself not doing that as much. I find myself just making the turn, making the turn lengthwise.
Because the further you go on the screen, the more you can cut into your turn.
Right.
So it's doing the loops and doing the quick reverses not really worth it yet.
in the bombs, you have to. I find myself hardly using them, where before they were really use them a lot. Now you have to, drag them onto the screen, and then it takes a few seconds. It counts down 3, 2, 1, then it blows up. So you have to anticipate on the map where the enemy's going to be.
It's a lot more complicated than the traditional just shooting it out and detonating where you want it to be. You lose a little bit of control over it.
But at times it definitely it gave me the Star Fox feeling. I mean, it's got characters from all the different Star Foxes, even Star Fox Adventures, and still got bosses, where you're shooting the little flashing.
That crab boss. The first crab boss is really cool.
Yeah, exactly, and that felt really like Super Nintendo,
Definitely
old
Super
school,
Nintendo.
old school Star Fox, and complete for better or for worse, the old stuff complete with But I thought it was cool they gave you the option that you can put in your own voice.
Yeah.
And it modifies it for each of the characters. Rob the robot has like a little metallic take on it, and then there's the girl fox. They modify it for each one, and Slippy, but it is still your voice.
Did you say curse words and try to get it past that?
I did. I basically it would ask you what month is it, and then I would you just say whatever the first thing that pops in your mind. It doesn't matter. It all turns into, you could say curse words for every single one. It would still end up. Multiplayer, we just played a 6-player game. It was actually really cool.
Yeah.
I got into it. It's cool that you can play 6 people download, and you can play it on Wi-Fi too. The map makes more sense in multiplayer because you're at times looking for very specific power-ups. You're like, oh, I need to get a double laser. Look at the map. Okay, there it is. I'm going to try to get there. Whereas in single player, a lot of times you're just looking for one specific enemy, and it's kind of a pain.
Yeah, you don't know what's what.
Yeah, but the multiplayer is a good mix of using the map and also what you're seeing, especially once you get into 3 or 4 more players.
So we're playing the import version.
Right.
How easy would you say is it to import?
Well, I didn't have very many troubles. I mean, it's coming out here really soon, but even so, the map screen is pretty self-explanatory. The one part that was tricky when you fly into the mother bases, there are these bases that are shooting beams out of it, and you fly down this track of little squares, that part, and I didn't know the first few times you have to be spinning when you go into the up the belly of the mothership to take them out. So that was the one thing. And then some of the options, like the voice thing, I didn't notice immediately because it was an import. It seems like there's a decent amount of story to it. I don't know how involved I'm going to get in a Star Fox story.
Star Fox stories are usually pretty light.
No matter
what. Same thing anyways.
It's basically a bunch of Muppets and stuffed animals, the trials
Muppets
of
in space.
But so I don't know how involved I'm going to get in it anyway, but there's some drama going on. The enemies, though, the one other thing is most of the enemies don't really look like anything except for the bosses. It's kind of here's a dodecahedron, and here's a 20-sided dice, and here's which is old school Star Fox.
The Super Nintendo Star Fox.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's kind of I kind of hope to see something that I can identify. That looks like an alien ship.
And it makes it worse when the draw distance isn't that great.
Yeah.
So it's trying to pick out what's an enemy, what's an item, what's a power-up is kind of difficult.
Right. All right, cool, man. Well, when you're done with the cart that you give me, I think that's the only one I got.
All right, I'll be done soon.
All right, sweet. Later.
See you, man.
Busy place. Lots of security cameras.
How are we supposed to find our contact in this crowd?
Maybe the bartender's seen her.
Well, it's different, I think, and similar at the same time. I mean, at the core of a BioWare game, we're always trying to convey great stories and have amazing character interactions and have a good, really solid customization, progression of characters, so you feel like you're building up your character. It's a really great experience. You're seeing all the things, all the cool items you're getting appearing on your character, and you're getting new weapons and biotic powers and things like that. And epic world to explore, or in this case, a universe. You have your own ship, the Normandy, so you're traveling around. You go to uncharted worlds, and lots of optional content. Of course, also really exciting combat, tactical combat, but very strategic in terms of how you build up your party. And it all ties together, so we're trying to link all those four elements, sort of the BioWare pillars, into a custom crafted experience for Mass Effect. And of course it's a science fiction adventure and you're exploring the galaxy, but the setting is really more a way to convey the core things that are really fun, and we're always trying to do that in a BioWare game, but it is unique in some ways as well.
Yeah, I think one of the other key things too is we often really work with the team to find out what they're passionate about. Like the thing that we believe where a great game comes from is people that really care about what they're building. They care about the setting, the world, the characters, the technology, every aspect. So when we're sitting down to kind of think of okay, what's the next one going to be, a lot of it has to do with the question of okay, what do people want to build? Like what's exciting to create? And then we also have to ask the question, is that commercially going to be successful? Are there other people? Are we the only 5 people that want to play this game, or is there 5 million people out there that also want to play it? So I think we try and balance those two things.
Right, but that's not the point. That's just the way things are. Face the facts. I better get going. 2 Alliance Marines with a Turian security officer. You don't see that every day. You need a drink? Or are you just here to scare off all my paying customers?
This'll go real quick if you just tell me what I want to know. Where's the Asari diplomat?
A lot of people come through this club. I don't keep track of them all. Not unless I have a good reason. You follow?
20,000 Solarians on this station, and we run into the slimiest one of the bunch.
Well, I think the key for BioWare is we try to make sure all our games deliver a very fulfilling story experience. So writing is one element of that, and that's sort of the first element because it's the easiest thing for us to get together and iterate. So we come up with a very broad outline of the story, the characters, and the plot. And then what we do is we let that outline go out to the rest of the teams, the art department, the other designers, even programming, because it affects all elements of the game. It's all tied into delivering the story. Then what happens is they look at what we're going for, what kind of themes we're going for, and they say, well, we like this, we don't like this, we want more of this, we want less of that. And then they come back with their input from their technical expertise. So, for example, artists will say, well, we want, this particular kind of world, or here's some concept art that we think would fit well in with what you're doing. And based on their feedback, we then revise the writing process, because the writing is the easiest thing to revise. We're constantly rewriting it, revising it, trying to get it just right so that it incorporates all these different elements together.
One of the things that's typical with a BioWare game is that we have 20,000 plus lines of dialogue. We want to really simulate a massive universe that really shows, allows players to really, just really want to explore the universe and get immersed in that. So we want the characters to really be believable. This is one of the lines from the E3 demo.
I just have a couple of quick questions. I need to find the Asari diplomat.
So we're able to generate that lip sync from the WAV file. We analyze that VO file that comes through and that generates the lip sync here. But we also want to create different layers of emotion. So I'm just going to, when we animate, I'm going to animate just his emotions. I'm not going to grab specific little points on his face. his upper lip or his eyebrows, I'm just going to have him get angry for a particular amount of time. So I'll just show you how that looks. So he's gonna start off being really angry. He's gonna be enraged, and so we'll play that same line again.
I just have a couple of quick questions. I need to find the Asari diplomat.
So we have a quick little period there where he's angry. I'll extend that and show you just how easy it is to go in and just sort of play with those emotions. So I've just extended that across the whole clip.
I just have a couple of quick questions. I need to find the Asari diplomat.
So it's really easy just to go in and add a performance layer onto these characters. So I'll just grab another one just to kind of show the range. We're gonna go. He's really angry at you as we start, and then he's just gonna give you kind of a fake smile at the end. So we'll see.
I just have a couple of quick questions. I need to find the Asari diplomat.
So, we're able to kind of seamlessly integrate an emotion system, and we were able to move the face into emotional kind of poses, completely independent of lip sync. So the lip sync is, even though we're making really complex changes to the mouth, we're able to still maintain a believable lip sync animation. So that kind of just shows how really quickly we're going to be able to do passes over the game and add a lot of believability to the game.
No reason to get personal. It's just business. Besides, Commander, insults won't get you the info you need.
I've got a 50 credit chip here. It's yours if you start talking.
Funny, my memory's suddenly clearing up. That Asari's in the casino. Up the stairs. You can't miss her.
Seems like a lot of your customers are Alliance crewmen. It'd be a shame if we told them they couldn't come to your bar anymore.
You wouldn't dare. Soldiers need a place to relax when they're off duty. Ban them from coming here and you'll have a mutiny on your hands.
There are plenty of other places on this station to get a drink. Places that would appreciate the sudden increase in business.
Yeah, okay, I see your point. The Asari's in the casino. Upstairs. You can't miss her.
A billion lives are hanging in the balance here. I won't let some pissant bartender slow me down.
Wait! Hold on! I just remembered. She's in the casino. Upstairs. You can't miss her.